The greatest mystery in business is not the cause of success, it's the cause of failure. And the single greatest predictor of collapse is hidden in the first 30 days of every customer relationship.
Think about that for a second. The greatest mystery in business is not the cause of success, it's the cause of failure. You know, it's a really powerful statement because it completely flips how we think about growth. We get so obsessed chasing the secret formula for winning that we end up ignoring the silent killers that pretty much guarantee we lose.
And it turns out, the biggest predictor of that failure is hidden right there in the very beginning, in the first 30 days of every single customer relationship. This is the core idea we're going to unpack today. In a world where it costs more and more to get a new customer, you've probably heard it called the cat crisis. We tend to think the biggest threats are these big, long-term things like market shifts or new competitors. But the truth is, the most lethal danger is immediate. It's happening right now, inside your new user groups, quietly draining your bank account before you even have a chance to see a return.
So here's our game plan for digging into this mystery. We're going to start with the 30-day paradox to really get why we're all looking in the wrong direction. Then we'll break down the predictive mechanism that makes this 30-day window so powerful. We'll dive into the psychology of why people quit so early, and then we'll lay out a practical viability framework you can actually use. And finally, we'll wrap up with why this is the ultimate stress test for any business. All right, let's jump in. Okay, so this brings us to the heart of the problem, the 30-day paradox. See, the common belief in business is that the major threats are way out there on the horizon. You know, some disruptive new tech or a big shift in the market, and that makes us look outward toward the future. But that blinds us to a much more critical and immediate truth. The single most powerful way to predict the long-term value of a customer gets decided almost instantly. The real danger isn't some competitor launching next year. It's the hundreds of customers you just paid a fortune to acquire who are leaving next week, totally silently. So let's just be crystal clear about this. The first 4 weeks, that very short window of time, is what determines your long-term viability. And why is that? Well, because if you fail to build a product habit with a new user, you basically create a financial black hole. Instantly. Every single dollar you spent to get that customer, your customer acquisition cost or CAC, it's not just lost, it's gone. Poof, vanished with zero return. Now imagine that loss multiplied by hundreds or even thousands of new users every single month. You're not just leaking money anymore, you've got a silent killer in your business, systematically draining your cash reserves.
So how in the world do we fight this invisible threat? The tool is called Cohort Retention Analysis. You can think of it like a high-powered MRI for your business's health. Its only job is to pinpoint that exact moment of highest churn risk, which we now know is right at the very beginning, and diagnose the health of that brand new customer relationship before it flatlines. It lets us see the problem before it spirals into a catastrophe. So let's pop the hood and really understand the mechanism that makes this whole thing work.
All right, now we get to the good stuff, the predictive mechanism. How can looking at just 30 days possibly tell you so much about the future of your entire company? Well, it's because the day 30 retention rate isn't just another number on a dashboard. It's actually a powerful, multi-layered financial stress test for your entire business model. And getting this is the real key to unlocking predictable growth. It turns out, the future financial health of your business really comes down to 3 non-negotiable things that absolutely must happen within this 30-day window. First, it acts as an acquisition quality filter. Second, it's your one and only shot at achieving habit formation lock-in. And third, it's the single most reliable way to accurately predict your customer lifetime value, or LTV. Let's break each one of these down. Now, what's so cool about this slide is you can see that acquisition quality filter in action. This table is basically a ruthless financial gatekeeper. Take a look at Channel B. The acquisition cost is $120. Seems cheaper than Channel A is $150, right? But with only 20% of those customers still around after 30 days, you're just lighting money on fire. Channel B is a financial trap. On the other hand, Channel A, even though it costs more upfront, is bringing in high-quality, long-term customers who will actually create value. The Day 30 retention number forces you to make smart, data-driven calls. Scale what's working, pause the money pits, and optimize the ones in the middle. It stops you from accidentally rewarding marketing campaigns that just bring in the wrong people. The second crucial event is what we call habit formation lock-in, and this revolves around a concept called the magic number. Now, this isn't just about a user being happy. It's about them performing a core, repeatable action that fundamentally changes how they see your product. It's that moment where the value proposition just clicks for them. It's the specific action that turns your service from a nice-to-have thing they're trying out into something they can't live without, a necessary part of their daily routine. And that is why this 30-day window is so urgent. You really only have one shot, just 30 days, to engineer this habit. After this initial period, a user's excitement, their curiosity, it all naturally starts to fade. Their attention just moves on to the next new thing, and your chance to become part of their life drops off a cliff. If they haven't performed that magic number action and locked in the habit by day 30, they are very, very likely to just become inactive forever. Another forgotten app on their phone or a bookmarked website they never go back to.
And finally, we have LTV prediction. This is the reason why investors and smart executives are obsessed with this early metric. Data from tons of businesses shows the same thing. A company's retention curve, how fast you lose customers, tends to flatten out a lot after that 30-day mark. The initial drop-off is steep, but the people who stick around for a month tend to stick around for a long, long time. This means the percentage of users you keep at day 30 is an incredibly accurate predictor of your long-term retention. It lets you forecast the customer lifetime value for that entire group with real confidence. It becomes your non-negotiable survival threshold, the baseline your entire financial model is built on.
So we've talked about the what, the financial mechanics of the 30-day rule. But now let's dig into the why. This whole system is so effective because it's not just about numbers on a spreadsheet, it's built on a really deep understanding of human psychology. It's plugged into the reality of how we as people form habits, and maybe more importantly, why we just give up on new things. Let's look at the human behavior that's driving all this data.
Every single new user is standing at a fork in the road during those first 30 days, and their journey leads to one of two very different places. If the habit is formed, they perceive real, tangible value. Their initial choice to sign up feels smart, it feels validated. Their commitment is reinforced, and they become a long-term asset for your business. But if that habit fails to form, they see their time and maybe their money as just wasted effort. Their initial commitment now feels like a mistake, and that psychological link is broken. They don't just churn, they become lost acquisition capital, a walking reminder of a promise that just wasn't kept.
This all ties back to a core psychological driver called the commitment and consistency principle. See, when a customer pays you or even just spends time signing up, they've made an initial investment. And your job is to immediately reinforce that decision with a positive, successful experience, that critical aha moment. If you don't deliver that within the first 30 days, you break that fragile chain of consistency. And at that point, quitting becomes the psychologically easy and logical choice for them. They're not just canceling a subscription. In their own mind, they're simply correcting what they now see as a bad decision they made a few weeks ago. Okay, so we've covered the theory, we've covered the psychology. Now let's get practical. Let's turn all these insights into an actionable playbook. How do you actually apply this in your own business to really master customer retention and build a much more resilient company? Well, it all comes down to a really clear three-part framework.
First up, you have to segment by acquisition. This just means you ruthlessly track which marketing channels are actually delivering customers who stick around past day 30, so you can stop wasting money on the ones that don't. Second, you define the benchmark. Your whole team, marketing, product, sales, everyone has to agree on the minimum day 30 retention rate your business needs to be viable. That creates one single source of truth for success. And third, you engineer the intervention. This is all about building an automated, proactive system to help users form the right habit before they have a chance to quit.
And this is exactly what that intervention looks like in practice. It's a proactive timeline designed to guide your users to success. On day 7, you run your first automated check. Has this user performed the magic number action yet? If not, that's a red flag. By day 15, if they still haven't done that key action, you automatically trigger support. Now, this is crucial. This is not a sales pitch. It's a helpful guide, maybe a tutorial, or just a friendly message designed to get them over whatever hurdle is in their way. Then, at day 30, you hit the final gate. This is where you assess the overall health of that week's cohort and can reliably predict its future value to the business.
So this all brings us to the most important question that you need to take back to your team. What is your business's magic number? What is that one core, repeatable action that signals a user is truly engaged and on the path to becoming a long-term valuable customer? Honestly, defining this, it's the absolute first step toward engineering predictable success and real long-term growth.
And to make this really concrete, here are a few real-world examples. For a SaaS company, the magic number might be inviting 3 teammates in the first week. Why? Because that builds network effects and embeds the tool right into the team's workflow, which makes it much harder to get rid of. For a media company, it might be watching 5 videos in the first 10 days. That proves they found a type of content they value and are probably going to come back for more.
And for a direct-to-consumer e-commerce brand, the most powerful signal is often placing a second order within 30 days. This proves that the first experience was good enough to inspire a repeat purchase, moving them from a one-time trialist to a loyal customer. This brings us to our final essential insight. When you put all of these pieces together, the financial diagnostics, the psychological principles, the actionable framework, you realize that cohort retention analysis is so much more than just another metric. It is the ultimate stress test for your entire business.
Because at the end of the day, the life or death of your business is decided in the first few weeks of every single customer relationship. By focusing relentlessly on that day 30 retention rate, you get the non-negotiable proof you need for two critical things at once: the viability of your acquisition channels and the health of your product's onboarding. It's the cold logic of unit economics combined with the very human reality of how we form habits. When you master this, you turn what feels like a high-risk gamble into a predictable, scalable business.
And in the end, it all comes down to this one powerful truth. The system works because it measures the long-term success of the initial promise. The promise your marketing made to get the customer in the door, and the promise your product made when they first signed up. Day 30 retention tells you, in no uncertain terms, whether you kept it. Thanks for watching.